Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer, and today we have with us Sumit Peer, and we're going to talk about not only the Wagner boss but also the new entrants to the BRICS Council, which are 6 countries, and we're going to talk about that also. First, we're going to start with the BRICS inclusion, why some of these countries have been excluded, why some have been kept out, a lot of good stuff there. But before all that, please like this video. If you're not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe and click on the bell button for notifications. Let's first welcome Sumit Peer ji. Sumit ji, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Shri sir, namaskar, pranam, vanakkam, sadhuwa. Thanks for the invitation. Always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours, Sumit ji. And before we go into our topic, which is the inclusion of 6 countries, I'd like to share with you all the exciting news that my new book is out, and it's just a 20-second trailer. Just watch this thing for a second. It seems to be having some problem loading. 6 countries have been admitted into the BRICS group, which are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and lastly, Iran. A lot of surprise entries there, and I'm going to let Sumit ji give his 2 cents on why these have been admitted and why some others have been kept out. Over to you, Sumit ji.
Shri sir, namaskar. In the name of Bhagwan Shri Ganesha, let's do the Shri Ganesh of this vlog. So what is important in the BRICS, couple of developments which have happened, as back as few hours. So it's very important for us to put them in perspective. Then we can go to the next part of the story. You see, the first and the most important thing is that we saw President Xi Jinping missing his dinner and missing the address to the business forum altogether. What are the reasons? Why that? We'll get into that on our Sunday China roast. We will talk and elaborate a lot of things which have happened there. But something was not right there. That we can say as a trailer in this event. Second thing which we know, that the Chinese were trying to get a lot of their own buddies into the camp. And we know the people who had kind of given the applications are around 22, but the people who have been admitted are 6. So what happened here? So a couple of things which happened here. First of all, India put the terms and conditions. So you cannot admit anybody. There has to be a criteria. There has to be all the 5 members have to agree to a new admission. So it's not China can unilaterally admit anybody jisko marzi ke admit kiya. So that thing is completely off the table. That is point number 1. Point number 2, so India has not been seen as a stumbling block for new admissions, and India has not also let China have its way. I can admit whomever I want. Now, what if you look at these 6 countries, if I look at Iran, if I look at Saudi Arabia, if I look at UAE, if I look at Ethiopia, if I look at Argentina, and if I look at there's one more country, Argentina, and I can't remember the name. One more country, Argentina, and
Iran.
Sorry, Iran. Okay, yeah, I thought Iran. Now, if you look at these countries, what do these countries bring to the table? What is the end game, and why did India agree to these countries? Before I get into that, let me give you a small dope on this. Now, Pakistanis are sulking. They are irritated. They are rattled. Ki bhaiya, Ethiopia could get into BRICS, but not Pakistan. And what is the most favorite part of it is they are saying China has failed. Pakistan media have been watching for last few hours, sir. They are going bombastic. China has failed. China could not get us into BRICS, whereas India could manage to get Ethiopia into the BRICS. I mean, they are saying that Pakistan ki awqat is lesser than Ethiopia now. And if India wants, you can get Ethiopia in. And if China wants, you cannot get Pakistan in. So that is one discussion which is out on the Pakistani media, and I'm loving it. Second important thing. Third important thing. Modi ji talked yesterday about global resilience of supply chains. What does that mean? When Xi Jinping was there, it is a very, very direct message to Xi, look, we are ready. Now, if you look at the quantum, what we produce, we're number 5th in the world in a vis-a-vis manufacturing. We were not even in top 10. We have come to number 5. But when it comes to preference, we are number 1. We are number 1. So this message from the BRICS platform is a lot of message which we are telling to the world, look, our supply chains are somewhat ready and equipped to handle your work. It's a very important message. Now, after the inclusion of these countries, what is the amount of GDP BRICS controls? More than 30%, and around 40 to 45% of the global population. So 30% of the GDP is moved here. Now, what does selection and selective selection mean? That you cannot have your own way, we'll have our own way. And Modi ji today used one more term. We all know what Indo-Pacific is. Indo-Pacific to sabko pata. We all know Indo-Pacific. We all know Indo-Pacific Command. We know Indo-Pacific thing and all that. Modi ji has three important milestones he achieved. One, he for the first time spoke of something called Indo-Atlantic. The Pacific was on this side, Atlantic is on this side. So that means India's endeavors and future frontiers are also going to go to the Atlantic. They will not be confined to Pacific only. And which means a lot of countries like Denmark, Finland and all, where the Honorable Prime Minister is scheduled to visit. So something is brewing there. It's an announcement that we are going to Atlantic. We are not confined to Pacific. That's point number one. Second thing Modi ji told is that all global South countries should trade in their local currency. It is again a big move to enhance the trade. Third thing, and always as always, I keep last for the best so that people wait for the last thing to come. The third thing which happened is that we have categorically said no to BRICS currency. There's a no to BRICS. We will not, BRICS currency. India has categorically put his foot down. And what we are saying, the country should trade in their local currency. What I always assume that this will be our stand, that we will trade in our local currencies, because we cannot promote yuan and have an alternate BRICS currency, and in a way yuan will be promoted by that, because China's stature is slightly higher than India in present day context. So we don't want that to happen. And the last for the best, and of course last for the best, excuse me for that, most important thing is, sir, jo log nahi dekh rahe, which people are not seeing, is as follows. If you look at the top 9 oil producers in the world, now top 6 are in BRICS. Top 9 oil producers in the world, top 6 are already in BRICS. That is why this selection of countries was kind of approved. So then this, what we call this, OPEC. OPEC loses all the glare and glamour because now 6 countries are already in BRICS. And what does that mean? That means when you enter the BRICS, you are saying we should trade in local currency. So these are in BRICS. And if BRICS decides to trade in local currency, you can have Iran, you can have Saudis, you can have, these,
UAE.
you can have Brazil. Brazil is the biggest oil producer. So all these top 6 oil producers can be trading in local currencies. That means it's a body. Russia to hai, sir. It means it's a body blow to petrodollar. So a body blow to petrodollar has been delivered without calling for it, because ultimately the American economy revolves around petrodollar. Petrodollar is the foundation, is one of the pillars on which American economy sits. Now, if 6 of the top 9 are already in BRICS and the agreement is we'll trade in local currency, and what is the message to global South? You can trade in local currency. That means these people can also trade in local currency. So de-dollarization has happened. People have come which suit our mutual interest, not China's interest. We have managed to get Pakistan out. We have managed to get Ethiopia in. And let me remind you, sir, Ethiopia has treasure of rare earths and minerals and is full of, and even some people believe if the excavation is done, there's a lot of oil and gas there, which has been not found so far. So, but something is there, but a lot is still undiscovered. That is why Ethiopia is in. Pakistanis are jihadis. We don't need jihadis there. They're useless piece of S. I don't want to use the full word, piece of S. So we don't need them there. So with this, you have stopped China, you have stopped Pakistan, you have stopped China, we have got the countries in, we have given a body blow to a petrodollar, we have stopped the BRICS currency, yet we have promoted the rupee. And we are sending a message to global South that, in a way, you should also start trading with the BRICS bloc in the local currency. So that means it is advantage to India, it is advantage to rupee. It's a great diplomatic win. And with it, we have announced we will be going to Indo-Arctic. Bhai, Pacific se kaam nahi chalega. We are not confined to Pacific, we will be also going to Arctic. Now, this is the major...
I think Atlantic. I think you meant Atlantic.
Atlantic, sorry, slip of tongue. Atlantic. So because when you look into the camera at times, the tongue doesn't slips. So you might Atlantic. So that is the message. We are already in Arctic because with Russia, we are only 2-3 countries are already in our Arctic. Our Sakhalin is going to give us production from next year. So we are already in Arctic. So Atlantic, Pacific, Arctic, and Indian Ocean to apna hai hai. I mean, we are already there. So if you look at this, I see it as these are the major takeaways. There are a lot of smaller ones which I would not get into that in this broadcast. So a lot of these are the major takeaways which Prime Minister Modi has been able to do. And let me remind you again, supply chain resilience alternate. We have presented ourselves to the world. Personally speaking, sir, I see it as a Make in India movement. When Prime Minister Modi said once from the Red Fort, "Come, make in India." I mean, people are saying, "Kya hai yaar? What make in India?" Once say Shauchalaya, Shauchalaya kya hai? Why is Prime Minister talking this? But Atmanirbhar Bharat, and what is this Atmanirbhar Bharat? But you see how these revolutionary ideas from an appropriate forum send the message to the world. Now, as this event is watched by Americans, by Europeans, by Africans, by Americans, everybody is watching this event. And as a matter of fact, sir, let's not forget that all the African nations are invited. India invited Palestine, but not Pakistan. So Pakistanis are more sulking. Let them sulk. Let them rot in hell. So all the Africans are there. This is a message given. Now, we know she is supposed to address these African countries and try to wangle his way and try to give them some, dangle some carrots here and there. But before that, I don't think now she has a lot to offer. What can she offer? Whatever she can offer, we already offered. Whatever she can think, it is already done. Except debt trapping, she has nothing to offer. And most of these countries, around 25 of them, as we've discussed numerous times, have already approached us to restructure our debts. So in such a scenario, when we are opening our COVID, when we are opening our medicine, when we are opening our technology, when we are opening our setcoms, when we are opening everything to them, and needless to say, we had a bumper success of Chandrayaan yesterday. I mean, that was mind-blowing. I congratulate all my brothers and sisters wherever you're watching and all of our team for that success. So if you look coupled with that, it has been beautifully placed. Now, Pakistanis don't know what is in Ethiopia because what they only have is international terror and jihad, right? They don't know what Ethiopia holds and why Ethiopia wants India. So this, and there's one more dimension to Ethiopia, sir. If you get control of Ethiopia, this piracy wala jo problem hai, the piracy problem,
Somalia.
this can be controlled to a great extent because if Ethiopians walk into a fold, so who are the people who are mostly affected in that route? It's us and Chinese who are the worst hit. Even Americans get hit, but us and Chinese get more hit. So in a way, that is why Ethiopia has got into a fold. That is why we need Ethiopia. And we have shown that if India wants, if Prime Minister Modi wants, you can get Ethiopia into a BRICS, but I can stop Pakistan from China getting into it. Sir, maja aa raha hai. I was really going through Pakistani media. They're going crazy. China has failed. China has failed. China has failed. वो आपकी बात है ना दिल के अरमा आंसुओं में बह गए हम वफा करके भी तना रह गए. So yesterday they got one heart attack when we all landed the Chandrayaan. Today they got another heart attack. China ने भी धोखा दे दिया. China could not deliver the goods. Sheep भैया काम नहीं आया. And let me not remind you about that video wherein Chinese security personnel escorting Xi were stopped by the Africans, where they slammed the door and did not let them in. She was looking like this. Kya ho gaya? What happened? So a lot of things are happening there. And a lot of people will also ask me one question. Before they ask me, let me answer them. They will ask me, she got a medal or a civilian honor from the South Africans. Why didn't India get it? Let me remind you, friends. South Africans have invited our Honorable Prime Minister on a state visit. So my estimate and guesstimate tells me that when he is there, you will see this happening at a much bigger and grander stage, and there will be a few economic deals which might be also announced. And what China dreamt of, what China had a dream, through the BRICS currency, it will get yuan into somehow second, third layer of the global currency for around 100, 120 countries. That stands completely shattered. And let me predict here, you will very soon see, give me 4 months, maximum 4 months. You will see rupee going to more 10 to 15 countries. I can give you that in writing. Within 4 months, rupee will be a traded currency in more 15 countries. And what does that mean? We'll be hitting that 40 to 50 ka number very fast. At 50, you enter the IMF's kitty. And when you enter the IMF's kitty, you are already a global currency. So if you look at all what I've been trying to tell you very briefly last 15 minutes. These are all the achievements. These are all the path-breaking developments which happened in BRICS vis-a-vis Indian global interests and the interest of humanity as such. Sir, Ji.
So this is all excellent news. And somebody asked, what about Argentina? There is a lot of debt there. Well, Argentina, as the name implies, there's a lot of silver there.
Sir,
Argentum, remember that? Yeah.
Sir,
Go
silver ही
ahead.
नहीं है, यूरियम भी है, lithium भी है, and we have bought petroleum blocks there. Remember, we have bought petroleum blocks there. So our interests are in Argentina. Our interests are also in Egypt. Our interests are also in Iran, for that matter. So we have interest in Argentina. We have interest in Brazil. We have even interest in Venezuela. But when we discussed last time, when I showed that ONGC wala, where all we have bought oil and gas fields. Argentina is one of them. We have bought a lot of mines in Argentina because, to be truthful and honest here, we've got them dirt cheap. So today, Argentina needs an economic stabilizer. And what will Argentina become in the long run? And think from a geopolitical perspective. You have got Brazil as your friend and you have got Argentina as your friend. You see, Chinese have got into Chile. Let's not kid ourselves. They have a reasonable control in Chile. I know because my friends and relatives live there. But when you look at Argentina and when you look at Brazil, they are the two powerful countries of the continent, right? So if you get a hold of these two countries, you have really done something for the continent, and you have an anchor. You have an anchor in the continent. That is what is more important for us. That is why Argentina becomes important. Argentina is not bankrupt because they're useless like jihadi Pakistanis. Argentina is bankrupt, sir, because of the policies they have taken, because of that, free. Argentina, Venezuela, they have the same problem. They have the same disease. What some people are trying to propagate in India, the same free wala bimari, free disease. That is why they are in such a dire state. Otherwise, they would not have been in a dire state. That is my limited point and what I'm trying to make here. So it's a very strategic move. It's a very, very important move for us. And we have got what we wanted out of this BRICS summit, plus minus one or two here and there. We got what we wanted. And of course, our objective is supreme national interest, and that has been achieved. So if you look at all of these people, and let me remind you also, condition of Egyptian economy is not good. Egypt economy is pretty bad. And today, Egypt needs a stabilizer. Ethiopia needs a stabilizer. Argentina needs a stabilizer. Brazil needs a stabilizer. Not stabilizer, stabilizer. So if you look at most of these countries, Iran needs one. And isn't it an opportunity for Saudis? I have been telling you, either through GCC consortium or through BRICS, Saudis will try to get away from the petrodollar without declaring a war against United States of America. So they will say, look, within these countries of BRICS, and we want to, because this is a BRICS key alignment and we are committed to it. So I can sell my petroleum products to India and China, who are the two biggest importers of the energy in the world, in local currency. Imagine this happening. So the two biggest guys are India and China, and they're dealing with local currency. You're already dealing with Russians in local currency. And I have been appealing to Mr. MBS. I know your embassy watches this. I've been telling you, why don't you come with innovative ways and start, dealing with us with local currency? Now, thank you very much if the message has reached there. This is a very innovative way. So you're not upset Americans. You're not changed your currency order, but at the same time, you opened a back door. So we welcome back doors. And as I always say, in politics, there's no black and white. Politics loves the shades of gray. So piche ka darwaza, back door is a wonderful thing. Okay, very good. So hopefully we should be able to settle a lot of our oil bills, which is a number one on our import list, in local currency. And for gold, we're already doing a lot of things. We have also our mines which are found in Orissa and all. So a lot of things are happening which are for the good of India. And this is how India is playing and managing this Game of Thrones. So this is a real Game of Thrones. And what I love, honestly, is how Pakistan and how China have an egg on their face. Alhamdulillah. Pakistanis are, I love their cribbing. I love their crying. When they are sulking, it gives me so much of pleasure. This is how you treat jihadis. So now we are in 20 minutes into show. Let's talk into the gold of Wagner Chief. Right, sir? So I think so far we have been able to, summarize it in 20 minutes pretty fast, pretty well. Chief.
Yes. So the most important thing here is that Iran and Saudi Arabia used to be two poles. Now they are now speaking the same language. Like he said, like Sumiti said, the six top oil producers are in this BRICS consortium. And the most important thing to me is that India can buy these oil using its own currency, rupee. That gives it a
Yeah.
lot more stability. You know, UAE imports a lot of stuff from India. So does Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Poultry, chicken, eggs, this, that. There's every day containers leaving Mumbai airport for all these countries. So there's a lot of trade back and forth happening. And I think this will take it to the next level. So the takeaway, I think, is weaning, India is weaning itself off of the United States dollar. Being an American, I am having a little bit of mixed feelings, but I think it was high time this happened. America will have to find different ways to, keep growing. So let's leave it at that. Prigozhin, was he a foreign spy? Because this question is coming up. Because why did he get shot down on a plane going from Moscow to St. Petersburg? And you probably saw the morning monologue of mine where I showed the actual plane crashing to the ground. And the question is, if he was supposed to be in Belarus, why did he go back to Russia? I mean, that itself is a big question. So we have a lot of questions. Sumit I think, has a few answers. Let's hand it over to Sumit. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The first and the most important thing, sir, here is remember Vladimir Putin in an interview to one of his journalists said, I never forget. I never forgive. I don't forgive. Small galti is okay. Big mistakes, I don't forgive. It was P Guru channel, and when we were talking about the Wagner, I had told you that in the next 2-3 months, if this man dies of some accident, some unforeseen situations cropped up, and something ho gaya, plane crash, suicide, something happens, then you can be 100% assured that he had walked the talk with CIA. He wanted to break the Russia within. So the $6.2 billion, which had accidentally gone to Ukraine, exactly went to this guy. He tried to do this because what sources tell us is, sir, that this guy was planning what the alliance wanted him to do is to get hold of few strategic Russian assets, not all. Few strategic Russian assets that will be a lot of pressure on Putin. So if Putin has a lot of pressure, then you can get Putin to talk and negotiate. This man tried, but he very soon felt that his people will not work against Russia. So what happens today? Then he meets Putin. They say all is fine. Then we are told that he was also involved in the coup in Africa, which Putin made him do the job. He had also committed that his forces will work for, if somebody attacks Niger, his forces will back Niger. We have also talked about that. Now, incidentally, three important things. First of all, within 2-3 months of that so-called revolt, which definitely now kind of, if we join the dots, we can conclude safely, it was orchestrated by CIA. So there is no thinking around. Point number two, we know where the $6.2 billion went officially, unofficially, whatever money went, we don't know. Point number three, we knew that Putin handled it very carefully. Wagner fighters are still loyal to him. And point number four, number one and number two, both are eliminated. Point number five. Now, if you look at what you rightly point, sir, it is on the Russian airspace. Now, NATO will not go there. Ukraine will not go there. If Ukraine would have gone, they would have already told you, because there's a lot of rumors floating that CIA did it. If CIA did it, CIA or any country will not dare to do it on the Russian airspace. Nobody will dare to do it. Ukrainians did not do it. And the most important thing, Russians never said we didn't do it. And what did Joe Biden say? Joe Biden said, I am not surprised what happened with this guy. So if you learn the dots, Joe Biden says, I'm not surprised. Ukrainians did not do it. Otherwise, the comedian would have claimed that I did it. NATO could not do it. Surrounding countries could not do it. Nobody will dare to bring down a plane on Russian airspace. It's direct act of war. Putin does not say he never did it. So, question ye hai, where did this happen? Who shot down the plane? I mean, you're shooting down a goddamn plane, and somebody knows that both the guys are there. Number one and number two is there. So what does that mean? Alternate leadership of the Wagner group, if it is announced very soon, in next week, 10 days, then you know that Putin has placed his cards very, very well. He made them pay for their mistakes in Niger. He used them in Niger. He got their trust. Wagner chief meets him, he says, buddy, it's all right. But at the right point of time, he also strikes him where it hurts him the most. And whatever plans or whatever, his ideas vis-a-vis weakening the Russia or cracking the Russia where it hurts more were there, now they are grounded permanently. Putin has sent a very strong message. I cannot tolerate treachery, and treachery will be treated with death. It's not necessarily a court of law or a firing squad will settle it. There are other ways of settling it. So Putin is seen more powerful in the scheme of things. Unfortunately for CIA, it's one more failed mission, one more failed objective. This man could not deliver your goods and he had to lose his life. And Wagner whole army is now again loyal to Putin. And what we are also coming to know that there was some Italian general who was in Ukraine. And this Italian general left a couple of days back thinking that he has given up on Ukraine, a retired Italian general saying, Bhaiya, tumhara kuch nahi hoga, you're not going to make it anything. If this, imagine this guy leaving the Ukraine in next 3 days, Wagner is shot down. So imagine the impact on the Ukraine. So imagine the impact on the alliance. Now, alliance is not very happy with what is going to happen. They don't know how it will turn up. And if you look at the sequence of events, this in a way implies that this man had something to do with the opposite side. Of course, it's not Ukrainians, it's the Americans who have something to do with him. And if you look at the CIA, CIA has done numerous black ops like this here and here before. And let's not forget, sir, a lot of people are not considering the fact in this tenure, there have been more than 2 to 3 attempts to assassinate Putin. 2 to 3 attempts also happened to assassinate Putin. He survived. And let me also remind our viewers that assassination attempts on Putin are no new thing. They keep on happening now and then. But somehow this man survives everything. So the roots of mutiny are destroyed. The tree has fallen. Putin is back into business. And now Zelensky doesn't know what to do. Last time we discussed that, these F-16s could be the game changer. They can push the paradigms to a different extent altogether. So what is Zelensky's new move? What is CIA and the Americans going to do? And obviously from Joe Biden's reaction, it looks very, very clear that they were expecting this. So who's their new man? Whom are they putting on the ground? Why did this Italian general leave? Who asked him to leave, or he left on his own? So what is really happening on the ground? We know the death rate between Russians and Ukrainians is 1:9 or 1:10 already now. 1 Russian soldier to 10 Ukrainian soldiers. So Ukraine is running out of ammunition. The tanks are not working. Things are not working for them. And geopolitically, this Zelensky tried a lot to get somehow, as a guest or a speaker into BRICS. He did not. He was literally pleading that I want to be present in the G20, which India has already shot down. So Zelensky is not getting those powerful international forums. European Union is not in a mood to support this war anymore. And with this, BRICS alliance shaping up and controlling around 30% of the GDP, you have to be really worried about how the things are going from hereafter. Because if BRICS starts controlling 30% of the GDP and around 43% of global population, so alternate power centers are emerging. And let me remind you, there's also SCO. So if I look at SCO and BRICS together, and I don't know how relevant is this what you call something as a G7, where India is always invited by invitation. So, and you have people like Canada and all there. So the world order is changing. And let me take you back to what Prime Minister Modi said on 15th August. I was on P-Gurus, I explained you that. He said that the world order is changing. He said he used the word geopolitical at least 8 times. It is unlike of him before that he has even used this word geopolitical. And yesterday, Prime Minister Modi again used one word third time. He said human-centric development. Again, that has been the mantra. That is what Vasudevan Kutumbakam means. So if you combine all these things, so this new tango is emerging. And the advantage is, in this BRICS bloc, you see, Russia is and will be a superpower because Russia is a military superpower. Nobody can take it away from them. Now, China is not a military superpower, right? We know what happened with the Chinese submarine and it disappeared somewhere and she had to miss everything. We'll not talk about it. We'll talk about that on Sunday. We go into details. Now, Chinese economy is interdependent. We have been talking extensively on Sundays how Chinese economy is going down that way. I've been telling you Chinese arsenal is not reliable. That nuclear submarine disappearing, on which sir also did a video, is a testimony to the fact. And it is considered to be the state of art, latest kid on the block. If this can happen to it, good luck. Now you cannot invade Taiwan, you cannot handle Americans, you cannot handle NATO, you cannot handle Indian Navy if that is the reliability of your arsenal. There's a strong message coming from China. So China's military is shaky, China's economy is down. So in this world order, I think in due course of time, what I foresee, 5 to 7 years down the time when we cross 5 trillion and more, India will be the economic power block. I'm repeating myself. India will be the economic power block of BRICS, and India will be the economic power block of SU. So there is where India has seen. You can see how India is checkmating China everywhere, and what she is going to tomorrow talk to those African Union people and all, try to dangle some carrots. So already, kind of checkmated him, said we should all deal in local currency. So, these global South countries should deal in local currency. This is how India is very, very carefully playing his cards. And Wagner Chief, whatever it is, death, extent, mystery, sabotage, assassination. I mean, I leave all the synonyms open. But doesn't that tell you Putin is not weakened? Doesn't that not tell you Putin is still strong? Doesn't that not tell you Putin still calls the shot? And doesn't not that still tell you Putin is capable of settling his scores? Now, after this, will Poland or some other country like Hungary want F-16s to be parked there? Will they train the Ukrainian pilots? Will Netherlands and Denmark still want to give F-16s to Ukraine? Would they want to train their pilots? And knowing their outdated F-16s, and if you look at S-500 which Russia has deployed, not 400, they are still ducks. So with these things, Putin has been able to communicate a lot of messages to a lot of people. What was seen 3 months back was Putin was weak. You see, what did the Western media do? Immediately, Sri, when this incident happened, they say, oh, this is how Russia will be liberated. These people, these true-blood Russians are going to liberate Russia. I used to always tell them, Arey Baba, how can 50,000 Malaysia bring down a 2 million army? Mathematically, it's not so. And who was Wagner? A hot dog seller in Moscow. Who made him Wagner? I always argued it is the Putin who made him Wagner, and I was maybe telling he will be Wagner till that time Putin wants him to be there. Right? Who gives him the prisoners? Where does he get the mercenaries? Where do the mercenaries come from? They all come from Russian prisons. Who gives them access to the Russian prisons? Putin, of course. So, in this scale of things, Putin has again poured his metal. Zelensky and West are again contemplating. And, one more important thing which we have to see is that India has stood by Russia. India has maintained its relations with America. India is not an anchor in de-dollarization, but India will do whatever helps in its national interest. So, rupee becoming a global currency has become one step nearer after BRICS today, because my prediction is next 4 months we'll have 10 to 15 countries or more rupee. And China, doesn't have that aura and stature which it used to have few years back. It definitely doesn't have. It is depleting today. Even in the forums, I told you last time. I told you when Prime Minister Modi announced he will go to BRICS, Xi Jinping will 100% come. It happened with the SCO also. She traveled out of China, I think 2 years after, because Prime Minister Modi said that he wants to go there. So you see how China is rattled today, because they fear that Indians might steal the limelight, and Modi ji might be announcing something for the global good. And in the last session, I exactly told you that something for the global good will be announced. And that is exactly what has been announced today. There is local currency trading, resilience of supply chains, Indo-Atlantic, and these countries now trading in the local currency. This is for the good of India. And let me take you back to MBS. When this Russian-Ukrainian conflict started, it was February, if I remember correctly. In May, MBS told that July, May, we plan to sell oil around $120 a barrel. This was the statement of MBS. Now, how much is oil sending today? So, when India started trading with Russians in the local rupee, I had predicted this is the biggest ever disruption in the world economy. You will see, this, OPEC not losing a share. You will see even weakening of the OIC. Earlier all the Muslim countries were in this OIC block, and OIC used to call shots. And Pakistanis, honey trappers, and Pakistani generals and all, They used to play their cards there. Now OIC is kind of dismantled. It's not powerful anymore. And what is happening to OPEC? Where is OPEC? Right? OPEC is almost हिल गया पूरा. So here is the new world order wherein the rupee is happening, de-dollarization is happening. Again, let me clarify here, we are not going against American interests. We are doing what is in our supreme national interest. So after all that, if I can conclude in a minute or so, because we're hitting the time, hasn't India risen to the stature? Hasn't India been able to dominate China? Hasn't India been able to play ball with the United States? And the message to United States of America is also very clear here. The message to United States of America is we can hit back as and when required. In today's time, you don't need to have hypersonic missiles and supersonic missiles only to start hit back somebody. Economy is a big weapon, and when you're 20% of the humanity, and if you start punching to your size and weight, this is what you can, how and when and what you can change in the world. So these are the kind of main developments with BRICS. And after BRICS, after this BRICS ka dhamaka and this Wagner ka tamasha happening together, a lot of messages in the geopolitical circles are sent, and the people who observe and watch this, they have got a lot to think on. I'm telling you, everything vis-a-vis Russian-Ukrainian conflict, I'm also predicting you this. Wait and watch. When these guys were marching to US, they were said liberators. And when these guys, Wagner guys, pulled back, immediately they became terrorists. Now the tales of victory and the tales of Trump, how the US and Ukraine are winning the war and how that is going to liberate the world. Wait and watch. Within 7 days, you will see a course correction. Because after these developments, a course correction is the need of the hour. So a course correction will happen. Even in the US presidential race, you will see the course correction because things have changed after this development. Petrodollar is the new worry which Americans have to worry about. And if you look at the plight of the economy, if you look at the debt, if you look at what is happening in US, we all know about that. If you look at the election which is nearby, and if you look at the margins between Trump and Biden, they hardly won 1 point here and there. And with this petrodollar wala dhamaka and China going down the drain, lot of things have to be rethought. You have to go back to drawing board and you have to really calibrate your thoughts. That is my 2 cents summary on it. And India has prevailed vis-a-vis its supreme national interest. We are not fighting anybody. We are not running agenda. We are thinking about us and humanity. On that limited note, I would like to end and we can take some questions.
Thank you so much, Sumitji. And now let's take a few questions. Mangat Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, when is this fight likely to end or does it have potential to escalate? What would be India's role in sorting out issues? This is Ukraine-Russia.
Ranga sir, India has played the most important and a very sacrosanct role in this. India has stood by the idea of peace. India has stood by the idea of settlement. India has stood by the, by the idea of ration, not ammunition. So that is how India has prevailed. And Russian-Ukrainian conflict can stop if and when Americans want it to stop. By the time Americans don't want it to stop, and as long as they can find money from anywhere in the world to fund it, it will not stop because Zelensky has nothing to lose now. Understand? He's a Fedayeen, if I can call him. No, Fedayeen has, he doesn't matter. He's okay. He's a gambler who's going all in, all chips in. It doesn't matter to him. The people of Ukraine are suffering, Europe is suffering. And what did ultimately Americans want? But they got caught in their own trap. They wanted high debt and high interest in Europe. Both the things have been achieved. So Europe, which put European Union and Euro, which was once perceived to be a threat to dollar, is no longer a threat to dollar. Look today, is European Union and Euro a threat to dollar? Dominance, it is not. It used to be perceived once upon a time, but that perception is smashed.
Next question, please. What is your view on Aziz Qureshi's threatening civil war against Hindus?
Jyotiji will be talking on our next podcast about the Pakistan. This Qureshi and all, they are all buffoons. They are all, I don't want to use a bad word, they are all idiots. They only talk about we will have this war on Hindus and all that. This is just to get some brownie points. This is just to get some brownie points and say we can do this, because when you don't have an agenda, when you don't have a political mileage, you want to start this and we want to have civil war with Hindus. Me as a person, I believe we are all Indians. There should be no war anywhere. But mathematically, Qureshi should also realize you cannot fight, anywhere in the world. Forget Hindus. We don't want any war in India or any other. You cannot fight, 1:4, 1:8. Okay? That this is not a war which you can win. So let Qureshi serve nothing like Pakistan. That is my humble advice.
Next question, please. Rahul Rathod wants to know, there is Mirchi in West about BRICS Plus. Interestingly, Indian media hardly had any coverage of BRICS, but huge burnall in Western media. They sent their reporters for continuous coverage. Your views, sir?
Rahul ji, West will send because ultimately who is the target? Why did we got into this 20 minutes capsule? I wanted to tell you what happened to when I was watching what is going to happen, and I wanted to give a summary to all this. This is what is happening. Because who is affected in all this? Whose dominance is being challenged in all this? Today, it's a very, very bad day for petrodollar. Today, it's a very, very bad day for the West dominance over everything. And if West would have not defunct these United Nations and UNESCO and UN and WHO and all, this day would have not come. But you played it for too long and too far. So evolution has a ways of coming. And as far as the Indian media is concerned, unfortunately, we are only interested in sand and sand ka kand. That is what we are mostly interested. Geopolitics and all. Chodo, kya karna? We'll cover Seema Heather. We love her. Is Seema Heather?
Next question, please. Srinivas Vitala wants to know, why will rupee rise with exports falling, devaluations needed?
No, why will rupee rise with exports falling, devaluation needed? No. Basically, you have to look about what is the foreign exchange reserve you want to maintain. So you are letting rupee, now rupee is traded in 32 countries. I mean, right? It's not you are only having your local currency. Today, RBI can artificially control the rupee. It has to get rid of a lot of dollars and buy a lot of rupees back. So rupee will get stronger. But that is not in the Indian interest because you will devalue the rupee if the exports are falling. But our exports are rising. Look at, we did 770 billion last year. So when you look at this context, we don't need to control the rupee. We don't need to devalue the rupee. There's no need of it. And when it crosses around 50 countries, there's no way you can control the rupee. And if you start controlling the rupee, you will become like China. And you will have trillions of dollars.
Very true.
Billions of dollars accumulated, and you will reach nowhere with 100 crore people. You will reach nowhere. We will not do that mistakes. No way. Ji, sir.
Next question, please. Nagarajan Srinivasan wants to know, since Iran and Saudi Arabia are on board, what will happen to the Yemen crisis?
Yemen and all of those pawns on the playboard, which on the chessboard, which they are doing. Yemen is if you go to Yemen, I have been there once, you will feel like you walked 50 years back into time. So Yemen is Yemen is far behind. There's no comparison between Oman and Yemen. I have been to both the places. So these are being used as these dartboards to settle this year's issue and all. I am hoping if Americans were green light and if you are able to tackle a lot of these Hezbollahs and Hamases and all, the Yemenis and all will automatically become different. Because as long as Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, these people are originating and thriving in the Middle East. Of course, Qatar is paying them the money. There's no doubt on that. So to counter that, you have to control these organizations. And to control these organizations, you have to reduce your dependence on the oil. And to reduce your dependence on the oil, you have to open these oil options and start trading in the local currencies. Because US wants to keep the Middle East burning because of the petrodollar. So if tomorrow US may not have petrodollar interest, their strategy, which I presume and will 101% happen vis-a-vis Middle East, is going to go back to the drawing board. Because whatever they have worked so far has given them the results. But the same formula will not deliver results again. And let's not forget, who are Saudis to fund Wahhabism? You know the answer.
Next question, Prathan Jhani wants to know, can India buy crude oil via UAE from Iran?
Well, a lot of permutations and combinations are possible. And by the grace of God, there's always a way out. So I can limitedly say this because I'm not the petroleum minister here, but as a commentator, I can say there are always ways out.
Isha Banerjee wants to know, will we see new BRICS currency? Downfall of dollar is certain, but is there any currency that will take its place? Lots of love and best wishes to P Gurus. Thank you so much, Isha Banerjee ji. Go ahead.
Isha ji, hum rupiya. I'll show you. I'll show you the new currency. I have got a model, and you will also love it. This is the new currency.
₹500.
Because India rupiah, because we are already in 32 countries almost, right? 32, 33. Now, when we have said categorically no to BRICS currency after dollar and euro, we are today I think the third highest circulated highest currency in the world. Now, when we are talking of trading within this block in the local currency, so that means our currencies by natural. देखिए, पहले we had 5 countries, 6 plus 5, 11. Then add the Africans. So but naturally we have around 10, 15 countries more on the board. So we need to reach 50. So de-dollarization is happening, but not at the cost of creating an alternate dollar, which will be a BRICS currency, or somehow helping China and Chinese yuan to come up the pedestal. It will be our currency. जिसमें दम होगा वो करेगा. Whoever has, जिसमें गूदा होगा, whoever has the stature, whoever has the damkham can do it. If Chinese have, let them do it. And you know the plight of Chinese economy, they can never do it. We have played this card because we know we are better poised than Chinese to handle this. That is where the whole thought process is coming from.
Next question, Anand.
Isha ji, you will also have this currency, so we both have the same currency. These are also.
Anand Shivkumar wants to know, why does India not invest in Western media to get favorite coverage? What do you think about Vivek Ramaswamy?
Anandji, to be honest with you, Vivek Ramaswamy is a good candidate. I love him. He's very articulate. He's this. But if I can be direct with you, there's no point of putting money in the Western media because you cannot compete with West on the money. No, their currency runs the world. It's dollars still, you like it or not. They have been printing dollars in trillions and still living with it. So you cannot compete with them on money. But the only challenge I find with Vivek Ramaswamy is he's a Hindu. He's a practicing Hindu. Deep state and the cabal will not want the world's largest democracy and the oldest democracy to have a Hindu prime minister and president. Modi ji se itna pareshan hai. Then you have Rishi Sunak in UK, there are 3 powerful economies in Europe. One of them is run by a Hindu. And these are all practicing Hindus. Either you have to go that Kamala Harris way, ki bhaiya main to Christian, no practicing Christian. Or you have to go Obama's way, I'm a Muslim but I'm a practicing Christian. So this Hindu image, Hindu parents are already they're hitting below the belt. He's a Brahman. He's this, he's that. They're talking about his caste. They're talking about the inheritance law and inheritance tax and going back to his village in Kerala and all. So they will not let it happen. That is the only stumbling block for our good friend Vivek Ramaswamy. That is my limited take. Sir, you know it better than me. What is your take?
Yeah, see, if you saw the debate today, everybody was attacking Vivek Ramaswamy. That means he is the one that is, become the magnet from where everybody thinks that this is the guy who's the biggest threat. So that is his advantage. To his advantage, he has earned it. From nowhere, he has got now everybody talking about various things, and he has been the one setting that narrative. So let's wait and see how it plays out. Next question, please. Nagarajan Srinivasan wants to know, did China congratulate India on Chandrayaan 3?
I don't remember seeing anything on this Nagarajan, but I'm not sure. Maybe it has happened, not happened. But when China fails, I love it. When China congratulates it, I get more cautious and suspicious. If they are not congratulating me, I'm okay with it. But if they congratulate, I'm worried.
Narayan P wants to know, really, do you think Prigozhin has died? He might be in some gulag for some time.
Sir, Putin usually settles his scores very fast. Putin does not want to see anything that challenges his dominance. Putin wants to send a message to the world he's in control. Putin wants to say, still he calls the shots. Putin wants to say, you cannot weaken me internally. There's a lot of stakes of Putin. And unfortunately, this guy has become the casualty. He tried to show his loyalty again to Putin, but loyalty and trust is you break it once, there's no second time. That is how unfortunately this works. Because there is no contract which you sign. Loyalty doesn't have a contract and an indemnity clause and a force majeure. I have not seen one. So loyalty is a state of mind. When it's gone, it's gone.
Next question, please. Ren Skywalker wants to know, sir, सब हिंदू को खत्म क्यों करना चाहते हैं?
ये आपने रन जी बड़ा अच्छा सवाल पूछा. It is because you see Sanatan Dharma is 1 lakh years old. Now you see there are various artifacts and all which date to thousands of years before BC. Abrahamic faiths are 1400 years old. Sanatan Dharma talks about humanity, Christianity talks about Christian, Islam talks about Muslim. There is nothing called a word Hindu in Hinduism. It's called Manav and Manavta, right? You know, Manav is humanity, human and humanness. So when you see the power of Vasudhaivam Kutumbakam, when you have survived the test of time, because the ultimate test is of that of time. There's no bigger test than test of time. And when you have survived 1,000 years of Islamic onslaught, you have survived British occupation, you have survived their loot and plunder, and still you are up and resilient. From fragile 5, you have become top 5. And when you have this nationalism in your blood, where you say, this is not a bloody piece of land, sorry to use this word, this is my mother. Because a lot of people think the country is Amin, it's a piece of land, or this is the mother. This thing is really, really frightening to the world, because Sanatan Dharma talks about the balance of elements. Sanatan Dharma talks about how you have to have this balance of elements intact for the humanity to survive. What is global change? If you get the balance of elements right, there's nothing called global warming and climate change, but you're ready to spend trillions of dollars on. So now this cause was isko daba diya tha with 1,000 years of onslaught. Now as India is liberating and coming up, world is scared. I have been very candid on this, and I can be candid anywhere. World is very scared that if this is going to happen, when the cause is understood by the whole world, what will be the future of Abrahamic faiths? That is why everybody is coming after Hindu, whatever. Vivek Ramaswamy, one of the biggest political drawbacks, his political drawback is a practicing Hindu and is very vocal about it. And second drawback is unfortunately a Brahmin. So if you compare Hindu and a Brahmin, it's a wo kehte na Karela upar neem chada. That is why he sees the new Dracula in the US politics. Unfortunately, they will make him one. So that is where it is. You see why everybody is after this Prime Minister Modi. Why nobody likes Modi? Because he's a nationalist, he's a Hindu, he's probably practices Dharma, and he believes in the teachings of the Dharma. We believe in Arthashastra, we believe in Chanakya Niti. We have not taken Western economic models. Today, if you look at major government schemes which I watch carefully, they are not based on this Western economic model. We don't believe in that. So this alternate way of life, I call Sanatan Dharma Hindutva as a way of life. This alternate way of life, this sustainable way of life, this scalable way of life, this way of life wherein if you say, I don't believe in Ram, I don't believe in Bhavan Shankar, I don't believe in Narayan, you're still a Hindu. Nobody will say you will burn in, you will burn in hell. And we have not done witch hunting. We have not burned women alive, or a witch will burn you alive. So when you look at all these things, this way of life is a threat to the Abrahamic faiths. That is why everybody wants to attack you on your core. If you have to dismantle you, what do snappers take a shot here, heart or head? Because if you get a bullet there, army khatam. So that is why they are attacking the roots of Hinduism and Hindutva as such. That is why everybody is against Hinduism.
Srinivas Vithala wants to know, how will BRICS control if they are only supplier countries with natural resources? Someone should buy and pay premium price. This is not enough development to receive these resources. I think he has cut his question. I think let's go on to the next question, please. It's not complete. Yeah. Pradeep Tumati wants to know, why is India against a gold-backed currency? We have the largest gold stash in the world. Don't we become the richest nation in the world?
Sir, Pradeepji, gold currency should be there, but our currency, na? Why should we create an alternate currency? It's like, I get rid of a dollar, I create dollar ka chehra bhai. Why should I do that? Let my currency be the currency, na? And we don't want to dominate the world. We are liberating and helping the humanity. We don't want to control the world. I've been always telling we will not do the mistake what China did, what Japan did, or what America did. I, me, myself. No, we are talking about the humanity as such. So if there's a currency, ultimately our currency will be bad. Because why should we enter into alliance with China has a say? I should run my own currency. I should have, मैं अपना सिक्का चलाऊंगा ना भाई. मैं मिला जुला सिक्का क्यों चलाऊं? If I can say in Hindi, I'll run my own coin. Why should I run a mila jula coin? Na? What do I get? Otherwise, I'm happy with the dollar. We have the third or the fourth biggest dollar reserves in the world. Why is that itching me? If I'm going to get over there, that has to be for superior good, not to replace dollar with a 30%, 20% back new currency where yuan is playing the playing a substantial role. I don't want that. I want my rupiah, mera paisa. As simple as that, sir.
How much of international trade is being done in US dollar as of now? What will be the situation of de-dollarization after 1 year?
Well, I don't have the figure, but I think 70 to 80% of the trade is done in US dollars. And I don't have the dollar value, so I can't put a dollar value right now.
I think it is now down to 65.
Yeah, so possibly it's down to 65. It used to be around 80. Now, what will happen is that de-dollarization will not happen in 1 year. It will happen in due course of time. You can say that de-dollarization has really kicked on up and strong. When petrodollar is no longer there, that means Saudis and the oil bloc decides that they will not only sell the energy resource of the world in petrodollar, right? So I think dollar, what I'm getting here is still around 80-82%. That's what the guesstimate was. But the stumbling block will be when the petrodollar is gone, because petrodollar ensures dollar as a global currency. If you have to really, move away the dollar, you have to make sure first thing you have to do is you have to get petrodollar kind of a concept out of the book. If that happens, that day you can say you have begun. It has really begun and it will catch in due course of time. Then it's a matter of time only. But yet, in my
and our editor tells me the dollar trade is 82.59%. I was wrong. It's not 65. It's still quite high. So long way to go. Yeah. So Sajid, yeah. And we are coming to an end. You have a announcement to make. Go ahead.
Now, my friends, this is an initiative which I run. It's called, you can see the ID here, Sumit Peer official@gmail.com. You can write to me. My team will get back to you. Like if you have problems with life, business, growth, spirituality, how to contribute to nation building, and any other issues, you can write to me and we can try to answer to you. If required, I will talk to you one-to-one and try to settle these issues. They will be on a video conference online. So that means you can be across the world. They are private and confidential in nature, very specific problems, not generic problems. Generic problems we address by this channel or by mails. But very specific issues and advice which you want, you can reach back to me. A lot of people are coming. Thanks for all the support. And I'm happy to inform you all our mail backlog is clear now. We have nothing pending on our hands. And thanks for all the support I've been getting.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to a close of this session. We'll be back in half an hour's time on Pakistan, and it's going to be in Hindi. Thanks for joining. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Pranam. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.